How you doing? It's Mike Sorensen here with another encouragement for you, Grace Community leaders out there. As you guys know, any who connect with Grace, it's been kind of a crazy time, and we've been shut down and doing all this from home. It's just kind of how 2020 has been. So we're still doing this though. Still want to find ways to encourage you and show you how to do community well. And even in this week, ministry and community doesn't stop just because it's Christmas time. Honestly, this can be a really hard time for some people. And so I know that you may have people that are sick or suffering or struggling within your community, people that you're reaching out to or helping or praying for. There's people going through stuff all the time right now, especially with COVID going on. People that are in church going through it right now. And, I'm blessed with the community of people that I'm a part of. I love our church. I love the people, and I love you guys that are out there doing the work of ministry all the time. It's a huge deal. And so I'm really thankful for all of you. Thank you for what you do. And so as we get into this, I wanted to just give you a word of encouragement. This has been a hard time. It's been a long time. And, I remember, back in April when we had to be shut down, and we thought, man, I can't believe this is still going on when it got to Easter. And we had thought, oh, well, we'll be back by Easter. So people thought that was going to be done. And it was like, we thought at that time, like, oh, it's still going on. Here it is Easter time. And, here we are now at the end of the year, and COVID's still going on. There's still a lot happening. It's, so many cases and so much going on around us right now, so much suffering and struggle that people have been through this year. We thought, oh, we'll shut down for a few weeks and maybe we can stem this tide. And no one had any idea that at the end of the year, we'd still be in the middle of this mess. So it takes a lot of endurance. And if you guys are facing that as a small group and you're like, when are we ever going to be back to some kind of normalcy? And then we get, shutdowns like we've had at the church, even here for Christmas. And it's hard. There's no doubt. And there's, the way we're trying to do community now obviously isn't as good. So if we could all be there in person, if you could just give these people a hug, if you could, go and visit some of your family members that you haven't seen in months. All of us have things like that we haven't been able to do, that we're needing, that we're wanting to do. And of course, it's not as good what we're going through right now. But I would like to encourage you that endurance is worth it. And, even this week, as we're looking at the Christmas story, I was just struck by it this year when I read in Luke the story of Elizabeth. And as you look at her, it's easy to pass by. You get certain elements of the story. You get Zechariah going into the temple, going into the Holy of Holies, and having this angel appear to him and give him this prophecy about his wife getting pregnant. And they received this prophecy. So Elizabeth, as an old woman who's always longed for a child, suddenly becomes pregnant. You can miss in there, if you're just reading through this story, and I've often not paid much attention to it, that it wasn't until the 6th month that Mary comes along to visit her. Because I think it took long enough for the baby to be big enough to leap in her womb, and that evidence of the Holy Spirit that gave to Mary when she showed up. And also for her to be visibly pregnant, it was an encouragement to Mary when Mary is struggling with this. She's not even married and is struggling with this, and she comes to visit her relative Elizabeth. But when she comes and she sees that Elizabeth, you could see that she was pregnant by that point because she was 6 months pregnant. But it wasn't until her 6th month that all that began to happen. Zechariah was unable to talk all this time. And she's gotten this magical, miraculous thing happen inside of her. And she's feeling this baby grow, but it's 6 months she has to wait before she even gets the confirmation of having Mary come and knowing that Mary is now pregnant by the Holy Spirit. And then these things begin to unfold. And then there's more waiting before she gives birth to John, and more waiting to see John come into fruition in his ministry. There's a lot of waiting in this story that because it's just, a couple of chapters in the book of Luke, we can read through it fast. It feels fast when you read it, but you don't stop to think about what was that 6 months like for Elizabeth, just waiting and waiting for this baby to grow inside of her and knowing this is important. Something big is happening inside of me, but yet, I'm waiting, my own husband can't talk, right now. And I'm going through all the growth and pains of childbirth. And as an older woman to be going through that, I'm sure it took a great toll on her body. And just, I'm sure just almost no one could believe what was going on inside of her. So just the waiting that's involved to then wait. And then, the same thing happens with Mary, where she gets this word from the Holy Spirit, but she has to wait 9 months and have this hard trip to Bethlehem before she's finally getting to this point where she can have this baby and see this baby and take care of it. And so there's an awful lot of waiting, a lot of mundane days in there that we didn't see anything about, a lot of struggles and suffering and difficulties that they had to go through leading up to having these two children, both John the Baptist and Jesus being born. So in this story, there's a ton of waiting, and it's emblematic of Israel, who had been waiting and waiting and waiting, who had been under the thumb of Rome and under a lot of suffering in regards to that too. So there's just constantly these great prophecies and great things that happen, and we can look back and rejoice at them, but they all involved a lot of waiting. So I'd encourage you today, don't give up on that there is power and God is doing things, and sometimes it takes us waiting to get to the other side of the resolution of some of these things, that one day we'll look back and say, wow, look at how God used that time that we were going through. But as you're waiting, take heart, God is working. And so I want to encourage you just to look for that resolution. Don't give up on it. Don't give up on the things God is calling you to, the things he's asking you to do, the ministry that he's asking you to do. You may not be seeing the fruit of it yet, but continue to serve people, continue to encourage, continue to invite people. And there is going to be a time where these things are resolved, where God's going to provide ways out. You're already seeing the fruits of it now with vaccines coming out and stuff like that. The time is coming and the end is near. And so I just want to encourage you to just stop, take heart, and say there is going to be an end to all this, and there is going to be a solution. God is going to do something. So endure it, stand up under it. And if you need support, you need encouragement, you need a little light on how to get out of this. I know there's an end, but I can't see it. Please call me, email me. I would love to talk you through it and help you figure out what to be doing right now and how we can use our time well as we wait. And I know it wears on all of us, but I look forward to the resolution. I know there's a day coming when we're all going to get together and we can all be together in person, and we are going to appreciate it and love it like nobody's business, because it's been so hard not being able to see everybody. And when that time is through, there's going to be a lot of rejoicing, and we're going to really appreciate what we have when we get really good community. So that is coming, and we're planning a lot of things for that time and looking forward to it. So stick with it. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I hope you have good time with some of your family, even if you're having to find creative, safe ways to do it. I just pray that you'll have a wonderful Christmas, and we will be in touch very soon. Take care. Have a great week.